All right, been a while since I posted. Been out living life, having fun. Haven't done anything major new to the XJ yet. But today, got to work on the 17 JKU. Just changed the oil in it, and this is what I've noticed. Got a major oil leak from here. Whole base is covered in oil. If you trace it that back, you would think it's the bell housing leak, which would mean rear main seal. But there's a known issue on these JKUs, and we're going to investigate and see if that's what the culprit is. Stay tuned. All right, what you're going to do, pop your cover off, set it aside. Right here is where your oil filter goes. It's kind of hard to see, but you can put a light down there, and if you have a pool of oil sitting down here, this has failed. Should be a factory recall, but it's not. They made it out of plastic, and let me tell you what the part is. All right, so that is your oil filter housing part. I just put a picture of it up so you can see what it looks like. It's made out of plastic. It's prone to crack, leak, etc. You can get them back in plastic as factory replacement, or you can get them in aluminum. So I'm gonna do some research and look at doing this. It's usually about a $99 part. You wanna take it to a dealer, it's probably 1,200 bucks. It's actually pretty simple to do. You just have to move a lot of parts to get to it, but we're gonna tackle that process and show you how we're gonna do it. All right, there's already a couple good videos out there on YouTube on how to do this, but basically what I'm gonna do first is take off this breather tube, and then I will disconnect the throttle body, kind of lay it to the side. You've got these 4 bolts on the side that you're gonna have to take off for the upper intake. You're gonna have to take the whole upper intake off in order to access that. And pretty good chance you're gonna have to take your fuel rails and injectors out. So I'll try to record as much of it as I can through the process and keep you informed. All right, so got the 4 10 millimeters off the side. You gotta get the vent hoses off. Be careful with these, they can get brittle. This Jeep never sees off-road. It's the wife's mall crawler, so everything's pretty easy to work on. Nothing's rusted or weathered. These come off. Then you've got the bolts on the upper intake that you have to take off. These are 8 millimeters. The ones on the top are gonna be longer. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller ones that'll be on the side. Now these are set up to where they stay into the upper intake, but I go ahead and back them all the way out, because if not, when you go to pull this intake off, sometimes you'll have a thread or two that catch in there. So you disconnect these lines, then you gotta pull your axle vent tube off of the clips, and we can start taking it off. You do have a little sensor here you gotta take off. A couple of these little Christmas trees that you gotta unplug for the wires. You don't really have to label the wires too much, because the wires kind of remember where they go, and it should be self-explanatory when you go to hook it back up. You got to take this plastic cover off the back. It's actually foam. You don't really have to take these off. These just hold it in place. These are hooked to the intake manifold. So you just remove that foam plate from the back. It's got 2 little Christmas trees that holds it in, and then it should be good to go to start taking some of this apart. And I've done it both ways, but I'm probably going to take the throttle body off as well. It makes it easier for you to get it out sideways and then lay it to the side, but we'll follow that as we go. Now, you ever start a project that you wish you didn't start? Got the upper intake off. You have to remove these 2 10 millimeter bolts on this bracket, and then back here there's one of the clips that hooks into the top of the manifold that holds the wires. That has to come out. All right, now I've got to take the upper intake off, so it's going to be exciting. All right, based off of looking over this, in order to take that lower manifold off, I think I'm gonna have to pull the fuel rails off and injectors. I think that's the only way I'm gonna be able to do it. Not a huge fan of that, but it's what I gotta do apparently. All right, so where we're at here, got all that off. I'm just gonna disconnect the fuel injectors from the fuel rail and take that off. But the way I'm gonna do it is remove this bracket here. There's 2 10 millimeters here, and there's 2 10 millimeters down at the bottom on this bracket. and then these are coolant lines. So I'm gonna disconnect those from the block so that I can move those out of the way, and then should be able to access the lower intake and raise it off. All right, so my camera died and I didn't know that at the time, but got the intake off. Just like I said, I disconnected the fuel injectors, removed the intake, the lower intake, and then I already removed the broken oil filter housing. Again, my apologies for that, but I'll show you how I did it real quick. I'll show you with the old part. I've already got the new one in, which is all aluminum as opposed to plastic. All right, here's the plastic one that comes from factory. Horrible idea being plastic, especially where it's located on the engine. You know, a couple things. The new one, this just slides into the grommet or the hole that's in the block. The new one actually has an O-ring that's attached to it. You're just gonna have these these are E8 bolts that you got to take out. You do need the E8 socket to do that. The new one comes with a filter already in it and both sensors. However, my model has a different type of connector. So I did reuse the old sensor and put it into the new model. Got that back in, got it set up, and we're gonna get ready to try to remember how to put this thing back together. The kit does come with brand new gaskets for your lower and upper intake, as well as the sensors and the filter already installed. Since I didn't disconnect the fuel line, I just took the lower intake, which got your injectors here, fuel rail and everything on it. Did go ahead and clean the surfaces off. Did put the new gaskets in here, and then again on the block, went ahead and put some rags inside the cylinders so don't drop anything in there. Cleaned all the mating surfaces, got that squared away. So we're gonna start by putting this guy back on, and then we'll put the other new gaskets in when we get to that point, and then try to remember how the hell I took everything apart to get it back together, and we'll go from there. All right, got the lower intake back on. Gonna go ahead and replace the gaskets now. Then what I'm probably gonna do is go ahead and hook back up the fuel injectors and keep making the process, putting it all back together. And hopefully it all works. We'll find out soon enough. We got excited, started throwing back together, going smooth as can be, and I'll be damned to look over and I forgot the foam insulation. So yeah, I probably don't need it. It was there for a reason. So now I gotta take the damn top intake back off. You can hear the excitement in my voice. All right, back after that epic fail. Took the top intake back off, put the foam in, re-put it all back together. So what I've got left now is the 4 nuts, 10 millimeters to put on the bolts to hold the intake together. I've got to reconnect the coolant lines that are down here and put the throttle back on. And then of course the air cooler part up here, check fluids, so on and so forth, but finish getting this back together and ready to be done with this project, to be honest. All right, got the 2 nuts back on here, 2 nuts back on here. So it should just be the throttle body and the coolant lines. I'm going to do the coolant lines first, put those back on, and then hopefully be done soon. All right, nearing the finish line. Throttle body hooked back up. Sensors clips. Everything should be hooked up except for the one sensor that goes on my air tube. I'm gonna put that in. Got the water lines hooked back up, or coolant lines. So let's try to finish this up, check fluid, put an oil filter in, and see what we do. All right, she is 100% back together to the best of my knowledge. That's the disclaimer. I have 0 leftover parts, so that's a plus. No extra bolts, screws. Went through everything, should be good. This came with a new oil filter. Since I just changed the oil, I'm gonna pull this new filter out, put the one in I just had to save that. Check the oil. I know I gotta add coolant, and then see how it goes. All right, well, she's running. So as of now, that's definitely a plus. I'm gonna be a little low on coolant, and I gotta recheck the oil, but seems to be good to go so far. We'll take it for a spin. All right, all back together. Ran and drove fine. Need to put some more coolant in it tomorrow. The only issue as I had is I forgot to reconnect the brake booster. So it was kind of interesting backing out of the garage. But other than that, good to go. Thanks for watching. I'll put a link to the part I got in the comments. Thanks again.